Alright, as you can see from my last video, I said if that video got 200 likes, I'll be making an advanced sword guide. So yeah, here we are. Before we start the video, I just want to get something out of the way. This guy said removing gadget swapping raises the skill ceiling of the sword, not lowers it. So here's a definition of skill ceiling. Um, if you remove gadget swapping, it removes the techniques that comes along with it, so it doesn't raise the skill ceiling because you're removing it, so it lowers the skill ceiling. All right. And apparently, I never had a clip of me doing a sliding phantom strike. So yeah, here it is. All right, so here we are. If you guys wanna learn the basics of the sword, just watch my other guide. This is more like the in-depth stuff. So yeah, I'll be going over like gadget swapping stuff in here too, in case it does come back. But if it doesn't, then like oh well. But uh, timestamp's gonna be in the description. So yeah, here we are. So I covered gadget swapping in my last guide, but this is more like an in-depth gadget swapping guide. But in case it does come back, you guys can like come and watch this. But yeah, if you guys want to skip to like the part where it's just regular sword, no gadget swapping, no nothing, you can skip to the timestamp there. But yeah, I'll be covering over like why gadget swapping is like super in depth. So yeah. So first off, a lot of people think all gadget swapping does is removing the cooldown of your sword timing, so it makes you lunge faster. But that's the case, but that's like the core essence of gadget swapping. But it actually builds off of a lot of techniques that you could do with it. So, for example, right? If you guys watch my last guide, there's this thing called, I call it slide canceling, but pretty much you could do it without gadget swapping. It's pretty much sliding after you lunge, right? So a long time ago, I forgot what the patch was. You couldn't slide after you lunge before. So, but now you can. That's like the main reason why I used a gadget swap was because it cancels your animation and you can slide right after, right? That is still the case, but you don't need to gadget swap anymore. You can just like slide right now. But gadget swapping still makes you slide faster because it still cancels your first animation. So look, if I hold slide right after my lunge, there's still like a tiny delay. You see? There's like a tiny delay. But if I gadget swap, this is season 3 by the way. If I gadget swap, you can slide way faster. So let's say I'm behind this guy, I hit him right away, I can slide instantly. So so you can still gadget swap like in a way to cancel your animation to slide, but other than that, there's really no use of gadget swapping in season 3 anymore. So yeah, so that's one way how that's another way on how gadget swapping affects like slide canceling, right? So now here's another thing. Ever since Embark added multi-hit to melee weapons, a lot of people when they gadget swap, let's say there's multiple people in front of you, right? Normally when people gadget swap, I see a lot of sword players they just hit one guy and gadget swap instantly, right? But if there's multiple people, you wanna hit multiple people because there's multi hit right now, right? So you wanna gadget swap late than early. So there are times when you wanna time your gadget swap. So there's gadget swapping early, and there's gadget swapping late, right? You gadget swap early when the moment you hit like another player, that's when you wanna gadget swap, right? For like the full potential of gadget swapping. You want to gadget swap late when you see multiple enemies in front of you, right? So let's say like they're not even no, most of the times they're not that close, but if they are, like you want to gadget swap late. So I gadget swap after I hit like 2 enemies. You feel me? Yeah. So alright, here's a clip of me showing you guys what happens when you gadget swap too early and what happens when you can gadget swap like later, right? So as you can see here, there's 2 players, right? When you see like multiple players, you wanna try your best to hit both of them with the multi-hit, right? I hit both of them with nade, so these guys are killable, right? Unfortunately, I gadget swapped too early, so that's like a mistake, right? When you gadget swap too early. So look, since I gadget swapped too early, I couldn't multi-hit the second guy. But if I gadget swap later, I could have hit the second guy while performing a gadget swap too. Right? So now I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna try my best to hit both of them. But I think I gadget swapped too early again. Look, yeah, I gadget swapped too early again. So that was a bad thing, right? But thank goodness my teammates healing me, so I get to clean up here. Yeah. Most sword players, when they multi-hit, it's by like lucky and like chance. I'll show you a clip of me hitting multi-hits by me being lucky, and then I'll show you a clip of me intentionally always going for multi-hits. So here it is. Okay, first off, the first clip, I got lucky because the guy jumped down from the building and I just got a lucky multi-hit, right? But we don't want that. We wanna make sure we wanna use sword to the fullest potential on like how we can always land our multi-hits, right? So in the second clip, as you can see, I always flick when there's multiple enemies. You always want to flick to the second enemy, or like the third, or if there's three or four, like it doesn't matter, right? So here's a clip of me like flicking to three players at once. Yo. Do it. Okay, as you can see from the last clip, there were three players in front of me, right? So whenever you super dash, let's say there's like the same scenario, right? You wanna flick to this guy, this guy, this guy, right? Every time you super dash, you wanna see how many enemies there are. So every time you super dash, you wanna flick to every single one. Something like that, right? From the last clip. If there's two enemies, let's say there's two players right here, right? Yeah, I'll show you a clip after this, but imagine there's another guy here, and I'm over here, right? You typically want to aim in the middle of the two players, if there is two players. So what I like to do is, let's say I super dash into them, right? I flick to this guy and I'll flick to that guy, like really fast. So that's when you want to like purposely hit your multi hits by flicking, alright?
Oh, what the fuck is this?
Okay, now let's talk about how to win more of your duels against other players, right? You first want to see if the guy's alone or not. Let's say he's like singled out, right? He's not with his team and he's like a free kill. Most of the times I want to save my resource, right? I want to save like all my gadgets. That's like the most optimal like scenario, right? Killing the player without using all your gadgets, and using the less dashes you use, the better, right? Because you could use your dashes to get out, you can use your dashes to re-engage. So most of the times when there's one player, all you need is actually one dash to kill like a medium player. What you have to do is, as I said before with the slide canceling, you want to hit the let's say you super dash into the medium player, right? You want to hit them. I covered this in my last guide, but I feel like nobody uses this. But you want to hit them, and then you want to slide like backwards like a triangle. So let's say this is a medium, and I'm standing right here, right? I'll hit them, and I'll dash like it's like a triangle. You feel me? Like boom, 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 something like that. That way, like they have to do a full 360 to hit you. So if this guy's aiming at me, I'll go behind him like this, and I'll slide back like this. So he has to do a whole 360. That way, you can kill a medium player with only one dash. Look, I'll do it again. Boom, slide again, like that, right? So, in my opinion, that's like the best way to kill like a medium. Only this is for only mediums, right? Heavy is a different story, but I mean, honestly, heavy is the same thing because you could just do the same thing. Use a circle around them. Sometimes they turn. If you see them looking at you, don't be scared to use your dash. So, if you see them looking at you, sometimes I go like this, and I'll dash back like this, and cause they'll be 360, right? They'll be flicking to you. They're just trying their best to like hit you, right? But don't be scared to use like all your dashes, cause you have a gateway, you have an invis, right? I know that stun gun got buffed. I'm not sure uh if I would use stun gun over gateway now, but I think they're both good in my opinion. But gateway I think gateway is still a lot better for objective wise. It lets you like put the gateway in the cash out, or putting like a gateway in the sky when there's a cash box right here, right? Alright. So I taught you guys how to 1v1, right? Now I'm gonna teach you guys how to get off, like take picks. I mean, like get a pick and get out, right? If there's multiple enemies and you feel like you can't 1v3, or like or like you feel like your teammates are not gonna win the team fight. Let's say this guy, there's like three people here, right? Like one, two, three, like one, two, three. Like let's say there's like three players, right? Normally you're gonna be like flanking behind cover, whatnot. Yeah, as I said before, do this again, but this time like do this to get dash out. So in total you use two dashes in one fight, right? I mean in the fight. Use one dash to get in if they're far to super dash in, and use the other dash on your second lunge. So you basically use two super dashes. One to get engaged, one to get out, right? So boom. I'll slide like this, so I'll tank less bullets and I'll get out like that. So that means the fight becomes a 3v2 because you just killed one, right? And most of the times they're trying to defib them, so you're behind cover, maybe nade the body or something, right? Or like invis back in because they know your positioning now, right? Most of the times that's how it works, right? That's like how you actually want to play sword. But let's say you feel like you go 1v3, you want to know what's like the most optimal scenarios where you can 1v3, right? Medium is like the easiest team comp that you can 1v3 in because you shred medium in 2 hits. So that's like the easiest one you could go for. So if they're clumped up, you could always go for a 1v3 medium team. Medium heavy is also pretty easy unless the heavy is like a good heavy where they save their RPG for you and they would just one shot you. So yeah, never 1v3 when there's a light on their team, cause light players are gonna shred you. Always, if you know there's gonna be a light on their team, always try to kill the light first. Try your best to kill the light. Yeah, or like let your teammates deal the light first before like engaging. Like, but yeah. So that's how you get a pick and get out, and then yeah, and then I'll teach you guys how to 1v3. So I'm sorry that I'm doing like a bunch of yapping, but like if I can find any clips of like showing, okay, every sword fight is like different, right? So I don't know if I'm gonna try and find if there are any clips where it explains perfectly, right? So this is how you 1v3. Most of the times, so now that there's multi-hit in the game, it's actually easier to 1v3 now. As I said, when you when they're clumped up, it's easier for you to 1v3 because you just flick to like one guy to another, right, to get multiple hits in. So that way, so just try to get. The only time you can 1v3 is if they're clumped up, pretty much. Other than that, if they're not clumped up, I would always go for the server dash, slide, and server dash out while killing them, right? That's like the best way for you to play sword by getting off like picks, right? But if they are clumped up, um, it's even easier for you. Just hit multiple players, try to hit multiple players, do your slide cancel after, right? Do your slide cancel after, and then just 1v3. Yeah, remember to always slide cancel. It saves a bunch of resource, right? I'm not gonna be covering Phantom Strikes because I'm pretty sure they're gonna get removed. So I won't be covering that because I think most of the Phantom Strike stuff I already explained in my last guide, so I'm not gonna be covering that. This combo is like pretty useless unless you're behind the medium, right? If you're exactly behind the medium, I would use this combo. But if you're not, lunging into a side cancel will always be like my go-to, right? So yeah, another thing is if I see a bunch of sword players make this mistake, right? If they're like this far from you, don't super dash. Do not super I'm gonna make a better example. If they are this far from you, right? Don't do this, bro. Look how far you go if you super dash. Just do a normal lunge if they're like this far from you. Do a normal lunge and then slide cancel or something, or like dash around them, like dance around them, right? You don't you don't you don't always have to super dash. The only time you want to super dash is if you want to gap to uh to gap the distance between you and the enemy player, right? So like unless he's like over here, then I'll super dash because I'll end up right here, right? And I can just slide like this, maybe do one of this, right? And that'll kill him. So if you're close to them, don't super dash. Just just dance around them, right? Only super dash to engage and disengage. So after the gadget swapping got nerfed, um, you really can't play as confident as you want to be now, cause before you could just do this gadget swap, and then you can like lunge instantly right after you engage, like right after you super dash, right? You like go like this, and then you lunge right after. But now like you can tell there's like a delay. You can still do it against like bad players, but against good players, they're just gonna like track you down and beam you like this. Like you're just gonna die. So, but against bad players, it's still doable, but I wouldn't like really. Yeah, it just removes a bunch of. So removing gadget swapping removes actually a bunch of stuff. It removes like your engagement against enemy players. It removes your. So now you actually have to like play. You have to like play more around cover now. So you can't really just use your movement to like dodge bullets now. You actually have to like let them come to you or like try your best to play around your surrounding. Alright, this clip, I got one kill right here, right? I see my teammate die. I hear the defib, so I'm gonna engage, right? Because it's gonna be, I could 1v2 here, right? Because I'm confident in my 1v2. I see that the heavy got defibbed, so medium's looking at me, right? But since heavy's low, I'm confident I can engage this, right? So I super dash into a side cancel into another lunge, right? Now this guy's free kill, right? So you can't really do this anymore. You can't really do this anymore because of the gadget swapping nerf and this yeah, so gadget swapping nerf, yeah, you just can't play as aggressively like this anymore. So yeah. So just be mindful of your aggressiveness. Yeah. So if this was season 3, I think I would have naded here. But yeah. You really can't engage like on this anymore. Maybe like super dash this way, but throw a nade maybe. But yeah. I don't like. Oh, another thing is I don't like using invis bomb. I see a lot of players use their invis bomb like right at the start. Like let's say I'm trying to fight this guy, I just use my invis bomb. I don't like doing that. Only use your invis bomb in your second engage, or if you're in trouble, or if they know your positioning, right, and they're shooting at you. So let's say like if they already know I'm here, if they already know I'm here and they're shooting at me, then I'll use my invis bomb, right? Then I'll use my invis bomb like this, and I'll maybe like go over this, and I'll come over here like this, right? But if they don't know you're here, don't use your invis bomb because you're pretty much already invisible. So just like walk up, maybe dash, like super dash into them, right? The best way to position as a sword, in my opinion, is to always be on the high ground, right? Even though you don't have a gun, you want to be in the high ground. You want to know where all the enemies are, right? Okay, let's say these are the enemies. I see them on the high ground. I know where all 3 players are. This, oh, I'm only talking about cash out here because I don't play TA that much, because I find it boring, but this is mainly for cash out players, okay? You see 3 enemies. Let's say these guys are the enemies. You see 3 enemies. You want to pick off the guy that's behind. So let's say the cash box is right there, and these guys are trying to get to the cash box, right? That means they're gonna be walking like this, right? They're gonna be walking towards the cash box like this, right? That way, when you're in the high ground, you can see who's behind. You can see who's like trailing behind like last place, right? So normally I'll go for the guy in the back. So I'll go for the back line, kill the backline guy, get out maybe. If I can kill another guy, I'll kill another guy. Always depends on your situation. But yeah, you always want to go for backlines because if you go in the front, if you attack the guy in the front, all the other 2 players are gonna see your ass, so they're gonna start shooting you. But if you attack in the back and like flank from above, right, they're not gonna see you. I mean, the other 2 players are not gonna see you, so you just isolated the guy into a 1v1, which is like better in your favor, right? Another thing, practice your window jumps, bro. Like most players don't window jump for some reason. Like it's so useful for sword especially. Like if there's a catch box here, don't fucking like take the stairs or take the zip line. They're gonna know you're here. Just like window climb. Use your dash if you have to. Like just come in and flank. Like always be looking to flank. Okay, this is one of my older clips. I think it's like 2 months ago. Yeah. So I think during this time period you couldn't slide after you lunge. So gadget swapping was super important in this time period. Side cancel was super important, right? Because you couldn't slide after you lunge, right? So I'm gonna try my best to break that. It might look like a simple clip, but I'm gonna try my best to explain it. So as you can see, be mindful that I do have my stun gun out, so I could perform a gadget swap whenever, right? So this guy's coming to shoot me, right? So I'm gonna dash to the right while gadget swapping into my sword so I could perform a slide cancel. Because normally when you dash, there's like a slight delay where you could slide, but when you gadget swap, it actually removes that delay, so therefore I can slide instantly right here. See, while charging up my lunge, so I pretty much just outmaneuver this guy. The rest is just simple, like yeah, I just lunge into him. Yeah, as you can see, that's why gadget swapping is super important, and it also enhances slide canceling. Alright, now in this clip, I'm gonna show you guys what happens when you glue everything I taught you guys together. So, first of all, you can see in this clip, I started off by flanking by going through the windows. So much faster than taking the stairs. Remember, always flank, bro. Always flank. So I flank. I know there's players in here, right? So I saw one guy right there before, and I see another guy by the window. So in total, there's two guys, right? So this guy's pushing me. So then now I'm gonna fight him, right? So I'm gonna do a lunge, as I said, a lunge into a slide cancel into a lunge, right? Without super dashing, because if I super dash, I would have been too far away. So don't always super dash. If they're really close to you, just do a regular lunge, right? Now that I hit him with that lunge, I do since this is season 2, I did gadget swapping, but you don't have to do gadget swapping now. You can still perform this, but it's just a bit slower, right? So you do this, and then I look the other direction to backward slide. You can't really, you have to slide the direction you're looking, right? So I quickly did 360 into a backslide. So now he doesn't know where I am. I'm slid right here. So yeah, and then I see that there's another guy here, right? So until there's two guys, now all you have to do is just perform a super dash, and yeah, and just connect the hits, and that's what you gotta do. And as you can see, I didn't early. If I early gadget swapped, I would have canceled my attack, but I didn't. I don't think I gadget swapped here. Yeah, I didn't gadget swap here, but yeah, that's pretty much how what happens when you glue everything together. The multi hits, the slide cancel, and yeah, in the end, I still had like pretty much one more dash left to fight. Yeah. All right, that's the guide. It's mainly for people who are still passionate about playing the sword. As you may know, I'm not gonna be playing sword that much because it's less mechanical now, so I don't really find it enjoying to play anymore. It's kind of boring. So yeah, it's the guide's really just based on my playstyle and what works, but I hope you guys learned something new here. Yeah, and these are the rest of the clips from season 2 that I have. So yeah, bye.
Holy shit.